Hey, welcome back. It's Food News and Choose Radio, sponsored by our friends at Sullivan University. Chef Jeremy Ashby, Sylvia Lovey, how y'all doing?
Doing great. I want to hear. We did the Milligan's maple syrup.
We did last week's show.
Great episode, great show. But I know you told us you were going to do an experiment. You were going to actually do his syrup.
Oh, I
on
did.
Pancakes.
And I didn't
and
wait.
Butter. There was something in there about butter.
I didn't wait till, I made a maple butter. But I didn't wait till the weekend. I literally did it that night.
Yeah.
Did you use my recipe from last week?
I did.
You did?
I did not use the Chipotle one.
Yeah.
I
Haven't done that yet. Yeah.
I didn't do the Chipotle.
So what did you do? How did you make maple?
I made just a basic pancake recipe, homemade buttermilk pancake recipe, right? And then we had the regular syrup, maple.
And then we had the bourbon.
And we had the bourbon maple. So I was like, I put them on the table. I let the kids, I'm like, you guys might not be old enough. You might not like the bourbon maple syrup.
Ooh.
They crushed it.
Yeah.
They used all the kid, which scares me because I'm like, well, this means I'm gonna have to bail out the channel. The bourbon maple syrup was the biggest hit. So then I was like, y'all,
like, hey son, bring me some maple syrup. He's like, can I have a hit, Dad?
Well, my 8-year-old goes,
we can see your rap sheet now.
Yeah. He goes, can I get drunk on this? I said, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's not fun. So, but the thing I did that I was most proud of was I used the bourbon maple syrup, what was left, in an old fashioned. So instead of using the simple syrup, I did
kind of a combo.
Yeah, so just regular bourbon, whatever bourbon you like in an old fashioned. Maples, the bourbon flavored maple syrup,
Sure,
some orange and some bitters, and made a drink out of that.
Old fashioned.
And that was amazing.
I love that.
Oh,
That
I
was
love that.
so much better than simple syrup.
Chef, I know you've got some ideas and thoughts on maple syrup stuff. He's keeps sending us good stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we're gonna
Milligan's
use it.
maple products are at Azure now. So, I mean, if you want to try any of these stuff, we, come out for brunch. I'll pour some on your French toast, which is already pretty much smothered in bourbon brown sugar caramelized
Yikes.
peaches.
The bourbon maple syrup is my
You're
favorite thing. Like I'm never going to be able to eat like Mrs. Butterworth's ever again.
I know you can't. You
I'm
can't
done.
go back.
And then if you want, I mean, I'm telling you right now that I gave you a recipe last week. Check out the podcast for maple chipotle butter. It was on the TV
It's
show,
killer.
the best thing I ever ate, if that tells you anything.
That's great.
I think that's going to go on a chicken sandwich this weekend. I think I'm going to put that on a chicken sandwich.
Oh, by the way, that masa crust
Right?
is so good.
Isn't that something?
I love that.
Right.
That's Chef's chicken sandwich entry into Chicken Sandwich Week, which is
One
just
more
about
day.
over with.
So
and
there's
it's tomorrow.
There's a tip out here, guys. Like everybody in this area fries in cornmeal, right? Just take it a step further and get the more processed cornmeal called masa that's used for making your tortillas and
more
arepas
processed.
or whatever
What do you mean
want.
by more processed?
It's just gone through extra grinding, and then I can't pronounce the term.
Oh, so it's more easy to bread something with it, right?
But they also
Kind
put it
of.
through a process with
with lye that
And they-
gives it a whole different texture and flavor. He's right. Yeah.
moxilization.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
a
so-
moxilization.
Because I can't make cornmeal stick to stuff as easily as flour.
Well, all right. Here's the secret to that, which we can. I'll bridge into later on. We're talking movies too, right?
Right, I know.
Yeah, the
I know. We'll get to
Foodies
that.
Reviewing Movies
Yeah.
Podcast.
But literally,
Callie's
the
coming on.
process in
We're
the
talking
kitchen,
about
we
that.
call it penne, just like the pasta, and it means flour, egg wash, and then crust. So you're always going to roll your stuff in either plain cornmeal or flour, and then you got to dip it in your egg and milk, and then you
And
put it
it'll
in
work?
your actual coating.
Because I
It'll
try to stay
stick.
away from gluten if I can.
Well,
So
then
that's
just
why
masa, egg wash, masa.
masa. Where can you get masa?
Right at the grocery store. I saw it in Kroger's, right, even next to the Americanized Mexican products. It's very readily
Okay.
available.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
usually either on the flour aisle or right next to
Because
the
it was
taco
tasty.
stuff.
I mean, it was really tasty.
very
But
good.
let's talk
So
movies.
anyway, but what about it? This is a fantastic crust for all things chicken.
It was delicious. It was delicious.
Or fish. Works great for fish, too.
It was-
and the
yeah.
slaw was so good. Oh, perfect. Movies. Let's talk about movies in anticipation of this great guest that we're going to have on. Callie's going to talk about Foodies Reviewing Movies. I love that.
So we'll explain. That's a
Where's your-
podcast.
what's your
where
favorite
Friends
food
get together,
movie?
they eat food, and they review movies together, and they review the food in the movie. So if you're going to watch a movie, you got to have something to eat.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So
What's your favorite food movie? The one that actually deals with food.
Oh, favorite food movie.
Okay, I'll go first.
I can give you mine. But yeah, go ahead.
Sideways.
Great movie.
And remember
Was that
the
the wine
Merlot?
one?
Yes.
The
Paul
wine
Giamatti.
Yeah, and
Great movie.
the Merlot comment that actually tanked the Merlot market
I'm not
for
drinking
a
Merlot.
long time. Yeah,
I'm
people
not
wouldn't
drinking
drink
Merlot.
Merlot.
That's a good one because all the
Have you
cheese
seen
references.
it?
Yeah, I love that movie.
I love that movie.
I think my favorite food movie, it's not fair because it's my favorite movie of all time, is the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Love it.
It's my favorite movie of all time. I watched that movie the day my kid came home from the hospital. I made him watch it. I watched it with him, the song.
Twitch, I can see you loving Willy Wonka.
It's my favorite movie. I could cry just thinking about it. I love that movie so much.
And who's the star again? What's his name?
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder.
He's my favorite actor of all time.
His eyes and everything. I love it. I love it.
That's a good food movie too, guys.
It's fabulous.
I really get caught up in the lore of like a Hook or like Harry Potter when they show the long banquet tables of immaculately prepared feasts that will baffle your senses, right? But as we're talking about this show, I started thinking about my favorite reference to food in a movie, and there's a movie called Defending Your Life.
Oh yeah,
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, and it's Meryl Streep and Albert Brooks, and it's just a really sweet movie. These people are dead, and they go to kind of the purgatory in between heaven and hell, and they defend their life in front of a panel. And they show movies of their lives, right?
So it's almost like a court case.
It's a court case to go into heaven.
And they have to
How long
and the
ago
cool part
was this
is
movie?
while they're there, they can visit the restaurants or whatever, right? But every bite of food is the pinnacle best ever, like the perfect form from Plato's forms of that food. So like a bite of shrimp cocktail just blows your mind. It's prepared just how you would think it would be perfect. So and then it goes through spaghetti and linguine and all kinds of stuff.
Can I name the food?
And they're just freaking out.
I wrote down fettuccine because there's a scene in that movie that involves fettuccine. And
what's the name of the movie and when was it done?
Defending Your Life from 1991.
Great movie.
Yeah, Meryl Streep, Rip Torn, Albert
buff.
Brooks. It's hilarious.
Probably one of my top
Defending
10
Your Life.
movies of all time.
It's really that good.
Yeah,
and
it
I
really
forgot
is.
about it until I started thinking about eating, and that was just really interesting to me. I was really jealous of them. I was like, yeah, maybe I get to try all that cool stuff when I'm dead.
Well, because it really makes you think for fettuccine. Because I whenever I think about that movie, I associate it with fettuccine because that's one of the scenes. Because they're like, how could this be so good?
Right.
And it's like, well, I love fettuccine, but where's the best? If you had to boil it down to for me, it's fried chicken. If for fried chicken, where would I get the pinnacle of that?
The best.
Like, what would the pinnacle of that be for me? Have
either of you seen Pig?
Nicolas Cage.
It came and went real fast, and I hear it was really good.
It's on Hulu. So it's a movie about a guy
whose pig is stolen,
but he's a truffle hunter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And his pig, he gets beat up. His pig gets stolen. Yeah. He was like a famous restaurateur.
Did you watch it?
I saw a little bit of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
Did the pig die?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I won't see it.
So this guy they killed his pig?
So they steal his pig.
It.
So it's like a John Wick situation. Like he just comes after him?
So, I mean, if you know anything about truffles, you know about truffles. They are the most sought after food in the world. And the only way to get truffles is by getting these specially trained pigs that can find them. Well,
that's why they took it.
Yeah, he had a truffle pig, and he was a famous chef who went in recluse.
Yeah, and
became a truffle guy.
You can't even recognize Nicolas Cage. It's a very understated performance, which is unlike Nicolas Cage. Right. But I want to see it, but I don't want to know if the pig. I wouldn't put that pig around Jeremy.
No,
because that pig wouldn't last.
Well, I mean, we'd be friends for a while, but when I get hungry, that thing's pretty useful.
Let me ask you this. How tasty would a pig that ate truffles be?
Ooh, so I mean, if you were basically God and could afford to feed a pig a diet of truffles, and that I assume they might eat them. They can sniff them. Maybe it's because they think of it as food. I bet that would take on a lot of undertones. I don't think anybody's ever fed an animal truffles as their primary diet and then
ate that.
And then ate them. There's probably
I'm
somewhere
down.
in the world.
I'm down.
Well, have you seen that there are, in states where cannabis is legal, there are farms that are feeding pigs cannabis, not to get the pigs high, but because it infuses the flavor in the meat.
Into the pig meat.
Absolutely.
Oh, fascinating.
And because some of the things from the industry are not usable, not usable for the industry. So like the stems and things like that, the stalks. So they're using that as hog feed. And they are infusing their flavors in the pork.
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, that's a good use for stems and all the stuff that
Some
I
of
use.
the other movies out there, just to jog your memories, Ratatouille.
Oh yeah,
great movie.
A lot of people say it was the best food movie ever.
It's pretty good.
It's animated.
It's up there.
And it's about about people pursuing their dreams.
Did you ever see Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I haven't seen it yet.
I always like. They had a spinoff called Ratatouille instead of Ratatouille. It was just a really. You got to see that one, Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
I've heard it's a very odd movie.
Well, it's like basically the Everything Everywhere All at Once. She can't say Ratatouille, or she's from China, and that's what's Ratatouille. It's a whole different spinoff.
Yeah, I love that. Dinner with Andres,
Dinner with
another
Andres is a
famous
great movie.
Let's see here. And of course, famous lines out of movies. I'll have what she's having.
Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
Dinner with Andre is a very odd movie because the whole movie takes place in a restaurant, and it's just basically it's a conversation. Most of it's a conversation. And it's a really like head trippy movie. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's a very head trippy like 70s movie. But if you watch it, a lot of things they talk about in the movie kind of applies to today. Because they talk about how people are escaping cities and going to the country, and it's interesting.
Julie and Julia, that's another
That's
pretty
a
famous
good one.
movie.
Well, what do we eat with this stuff?
Yeah, Chef, do you have if I have my home theater,
right,
and I want to have something besides popcorn, I mean, I can pop that in 5 minutes, but what do I want? Can I get like something that's nacho-like, that's gooey and bad for me and
so I think
delicious?
I think that's where we are, because we talked about this a little off air, and I think we all agree you have to kind of keep it neat and clean. You're probably leaning back and forth from a sofa to a coffee table.
You don't want it too gooey.
Not everybody has those stuff. So I think, your handheld foods are where we go. We've talked about nachos before. I'm not a fan of the movie place nachos with the fake cheese. I am a fan of a thing that I see on social media all the time for friends, where if you have a coffee table in front of the TV, you just coat the entire coffee table with aluminum foil, right?
Okay.
And then throw all your chips on the table and then just start covering it with all the stuff. Now, the problem with that is after about a half hour...
Just regular chips. You don't have to cook them or anything.
No, use your tortilla chips from the bag or whatever you want, right?
You're making a nacho
You're
table.
basically making a nacho table.
Right.
And you're eating off the table instead of having plates and stuff. It's just a kind of a fun, interactive thing.
That is fun.
Right? And then you can just kind of roll up your aluminum foil and your table's clean and you throw it away and there's no plates and no mess.
What do you put on top of them?
Well, that's the thing we were talking about is, whenever let's say we're watching a movie in Kentucky, I'm thinking of Kentucky beer cheese sauce.
Oh, yeah.
And easy ways to make that would just start with butter and jalapeno and lots of garlic and onion. Just saute those for a good 20 to 30 minutes. I said 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Really?
That long.
Really?
Like not caramelizing, sweat.
Okay.
So it's completely translucent, all but dissolved in there. You've infused all that jalapeno, onion, and garlic into your butter. Add a couple pinches of flour, add the milk, it thickens, and then finish it with beer and cheese. You spice it up. So you've got a cheese sauce, right? And what I don't like about nachos is they get soggy.
That's right.
Right?
Mine do.
Now, not that I don't like soggy nachos, but it's not conducive to eating movies.
There's like a 15-minute window when you're eating nachos
that's right.
that they're good. And after that 15 minutes...
Unless you're just crazy like me and you'll eat them anyway.
Right. So I would like, and also I think the rules for nachos and chips are kind of whack. I mean, it's not just all tortillas. I think you got to throw some Cool Ranch in there and some regular Doritos and maybe some pretzel sticks.
Sure.
And potato sticks.
Doritos, I'm for
maybe
that.
Sun Chips, all your favorite stuff. It doesn't have to just be corn chips.
Blowing my mind right now, Chef.
Right?
You're
and then,
blowing my mind right
I
now.
put them in a bag and maybe put them on top of the TV or projector while you're making your dip. When they're nice and hot for your movie. And then, so you've got this beer cheese kind of sauce. And I think it's probably better to put a bowl of your nachos in the center of the table and put the chips around it. So everything you'd want to put in your nacho, on your nachos should go in your nacho cheese sauce.
You just dip it.
Right.
Dip it.
Okay. Yes. So, I mean, black beans, corn, I would go with probably chorizo, because I like the spice. So just brown some chorizo, add all the other vegetables in there. You're basically making a fancy Rotel dip with beer cheese, right? But at least it's going to be something you can share and not get soggy. Beyond that, guys, when I think movies, we talk about popcorn chicken, and those are the bite-sized chicken pieces. But I actually think you just take your old popcorn, puree it up, and do your breading, Sylvia. Flour or cornmeal, egg wash, and then crumbled up popcorn. And you've got popcorn crusted chicken fingers.
Really?
Yeah.
Go over that again. You take popcorn.
Yeah, you've got it.
And you put it in a blender
and you just pulse it in your blender till it's kind of a fine powder. And then masa, like you want to stay gluten-free, or flour. Then egg wash, dip it. Then roll it in popcorn, and then fry it. So you've got popcorn chicken, right?
More blowing my mind. I mean, you're saying things today that I think either in 50 years people will think you're a genius or a madman.
Well, I mean, you guys should listen to me when I talk about food, right?
That's true.
Yeah, we should.
And then, from that point on, you just dip them in your nacho cheese.
How tiny do your chicken pieces have to be?
They could be whole, full pieces or planks. I think, Sylvia, great question. It can't be too thick because the popcorn will burn up before the chicken's cooked. So whatever you do it in thin, quick cooking batches, or else it's really going to take away from that popcorn flavor. But I've done this. This works. And I also have done things like pureed a little cornflake into it for crunch, extra crunch. Now, don't expect your white cheddar powder and your other stuff flavors to come through. They're not. But that doesn't mean you can't toss the popcorn chicken and those flavored powders you can buy, right?
Yeah.
So if you want white cheddar popcorn chicken, it can be done.
You
I
got to
like this.
that.
Ranch.
That
You can do it with
so
like
good.
ranch powder.
Yes. Now, don't tell Cinemark about any of this because they haven't put the pieces together yet. And if people are going to buy personal pan pizzas on a movie, they're going to buy chicken fingers.
Yeah.
Well, that is so
to
unique.
me, the most important thing about a movie snack is it has to be something that you can eat without having to look at it.
Yeah,
because you
like
don't want to
popcorn.
take your eyes off the movie. So I need to have a thing. That's why I think even though popcorn isn't my favorite movie treat, it's very easy to eat because you could just eat it while.
It's
so
unconscious.
popcorn chicken is a good one.
That's
because you don't
perfect.
have to look at it. You can put it in your lap.
Yeah.
You have a little thing.
And
I like that.
We know everybody likes fried chicken. But, back to it, keeping it neat is probably, if you're going to be watching a movie at home, probably a priority. So bowls of soup, like we talked about, I think are good.
Yeah, I was thinking I saw a New York Times article on beef stew. Just to sit and eat just a bowl of soup. Nothing fancy, just a bowl of soup.
So that would be for me like a Christmas movie, like a cold weather,
yeah.
like a warm
Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah, like a movie I've seen 1,000 times that I just want to watch with like a hug.
Yeah.
In a
And
Snuggie.
soup hugs you.
So you ever had there's another one, another idea you could do that would be kind of fun, a soup sandwich salad. It sounds crazy, right? So you take a baguette, a sandwich baguette, like you get, sandwich shop.
Yeah.
And you haven't sliced it yet, right? But you can take, a dowel rod and basically poke a hole in it. And you stuff your salad all the way down the length of the bun. So you've got the salad sandwich, and then you just dunk it in your soup while you're eating your movie.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and little cheese cubes for croutons. You make a little bacon, cheddar, ranch, Caesar, stuff it right down in that baguette, and you got like a portable
that sounds so
salad
Dude,
sandwich.
anytime cooking and woodworking come together, I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
That might be
so good.
You've said a lot of crazy things today.
But it makes sense, doesn't it?
But it makes sense.
And
Yeah.
I ain't mad at it.
salad on the go, baby.
Stuff that salad in there.
All right, we got about a minute left before we talk to Callie from Foodies Reviewing Movies. I know St. Patrick's Day is
Patrick's
coming
Day,
up.
yeah.
So what's on the menu?
So St. Patrick's Day, we're doing features. A lot of this is about drinking beer, right? So at Azor we kind of like to elevate things a little bit. So I wanted to give you really good food to eat, to drink some beer with.
Yeah.
Maybe some Irish whiskey, right? So what's better than Guinness Irish stew? You were just talking about beef stew. Here's the original form, okay? Lots of Guinness beer, beef, brown sugar, onions, carrots, celery, potatoes, and fresh thyme make this rich stew, which I'm probably going to make some kind of Irish soda bread to serve with that. Then the same soda bread, I'm going to probably just kind of grill off into toasts and top that with slaw, like cabbage slaw, and lox, which is cured salmon. Which
would be a very traditional thing in Ireland.
It's basically Irish bruschetta, right?
Sure.
Then I'm going to do a salmon Wellington. This salmon is kind of the theme there, and I don't really think there's a lot of fish offerings for St. Patrick's Day.
Well, salmon
really
has an
stuff.
Irish history.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll have to talk about that sometime.
So we'll take salmon, and I'm going to make a beautiful mushroom duxelle to put over top, wrap it in puff pastry, bake it off so it's a Wellington, Gruyere, whipped mashed potatoes, honey mustard cream, and then, of course, corned beef and Butterberry's cabbage is going to be on the menu because we have to do that. I'm going to spike the jus with Irish whiskey at the end, then do some cold cannon-style new potatoes.
Yes.
And then from the bar, we got an Irish Collins, a blacksmith, which is layered Guinness and Smithwick's beer. That's good stuff. And then good old Black and Tan. So lots of good stuff. These are priced a la carte. So just make a reservation and come and have a special.
To be offered on St. Patrick's Day, which is a Friday this year.
Yeah, it's Friday night. These will be offered. So,
okay.
You know, people ask, like, hey, what does there do on St. Patrick's Day that's not going and standing in line at a bar to drink green beer?
Right.
You can celebrate with some traditional Irish fare and lore.
More of an adult celebration.
More of an adult celebration.
I like that. All right.
Sounds good.
In a moment. Food and movies, the cross section. The podcast is Foodies Reviewing Movies. We'll talk to Callie next. Don't go anywhere. It's Food News and Chews Radio. Hey, welcome back. It's Food News and Chews Radio. We are going to talk food and movies. Podcast Foodies Reviewing Movies.
That's a good marriage.
It really is. Yeah. Callie Matthews, who is the host of Foodies Reviewing Movies. There you go. It's harder to say. Is in the studio with us, and so movies and food just kind of go to, you want to have snacks when you watch movies, right?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, it's interesting because initially when movies first started being shown, it was back late 19th century. Mm-hmm. And there was no food being shown with it. It was about 1885 in France, the Lumiere brothers. That was the first paying audience that saw a moving picture. Well, it wasn't until about 30 years later that food started to get, brought into actual movies. People were sneaking it in before it. Like there was
some still
strict no rules.
Some still are sneaking food in the movies.
Exactly. Big old trench coat and a big old
price tag.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't until like the 1930s when finally concession stands really became prominent. And then like some of the big snacks that came into play were Baby Ruth was one of like the first big candies. Of course, you had popcorn because that's cheap and easy to make.
Was that
I've always wanted to know about the popcorn in a movie theater, right? So I can't think of a noisier snack.
I agree. It's not a great movie snack.
I don't get it, but I love it. I eat it. What do you think it is? Is it just because it's light, it doesn't fill you up, it lasts a long time? What is the draw to
I think
popcorn?
It makes you want to buy drinks.
Yes.
Well,
it causes
salt.
Because of that salt, it makes you thirsty, but also you can mix it with, I've seen a bunch of people put candy in, like chocolate.
Raisinets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
candy corn and popcorn.
I was always against that until recently.
Yeah.
But I think Sylvia got me turned on to the peanuts and the candy.
I'm a bad influence.
All right. There's going to be a lot of non sequiturs here, but real fast. Top 3 movie candies from everybody. So you go to the movie theater. Yeah. They had the candy. The little candy's got to be in the box.
Okay.
The candy box. Or what are your 3 favorite candies at the movies?
Okay. Who goes first? Me?
Yeah, you can go first.
All right. I'm going to go peanut M&Ms, Butterfinger, Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, Sour Patch Kids is big, and I've actually acquired a taste for them. Junior Mints.
Junior Mints.
I'll add to that Junior Mints. There's something about the little tiny ones. The little tiny mints. They just taste better. It's like little Cokes.
Yeah.
Tastes better. And I splurge, and when I go to the movies, good thing I don't go often, I get popcorn and put extra butter on it.
Sure.
And a Coke.
Yes.
It's my guilty pleasure.
God, it's like $40.
Yeah.
More expensive than the movie.
It is.
How about yours?
I like a traditional snow cap on occasion.
Snow caps.
Okay. I feel like you sort of got to go back. There's a little nostalgia there. I also do like the peanut M&Ms. Those are pretty good. And then I'm a Twizzlers fan. I like to get some Twizzlers, but it's so noisy. I was at the downtown theater and I'm in A Quiet Place too. Do you know how hard it is to be sneaky in A Quiet Place too with that wrapping? And then to add on to your soda, doing an icy, like a Coke icy.
My kids always want
Mix
ices.
the cherry and the regular.
I'm so glad you said snow caps because those are maybe the most underrated candy of all time.
All right, this is another sequitur. Sorry, ices or slush puppies?
I grew up with slush puppies.
See, I like them better. The icy has that, was it malted kind of? Mm-hmm. I don't care for that as much.
All right, I feel with the icy, you're getting a regular Coke, but they freeze it and expand it. So if you melt it, you're probably getting 3 ounces of soda. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas with a slush puppy, that thing is dense.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you ever do movies that are actual food movies, like Willy Wonka?
So
there's several famous food movies. What's the mouse movie? Ratatouille.
Oh, Ratatouille. We did Ratatouille.
There's Tampoco.
Yeah, we did Ratatouille with 610 Magnolia out of Louisville, so that was a really nice pairing. Recently, a co-host and I did The Menu, so that's going to be coming out next season, and that is an insane movie. I
A
really
Bug's
liked
Life
it.
is a
Bug's
famous
Life.
one.
I need to do that one. I haven't done that one just yet.
So how do you do it? Let's talk about it. So the podcast is Foodies Reviewing Movies, and you get an Apple and Spotify, probably wherever you get your podcast. How do you do? Do you watch the movie while you eat, or do you find food to go with the movie, or like what's tell us how it works?
Sure. So pretty much go ahead. I lay out a rough draft of a season, figure out a good combination of different types of movies. We don't want just all action movies. We don't want just all kids movies. Actually, my demographic is like 30 to 45 males, 75% males, which is really interesting.
It is.
And I mean, there's people, I think Canada and Germany are like the two countries underneath the U.S. that follow the podcast the most.
Really?
Which is interesting. I think that has to do with James from the 13th Floor podcast, which you haven't heard of that. That's conspiracy theories, aliens, like everything.
That's my jam.
And
that's me.
Yeah. And so he came on, and I think because of his international following, that helped bring them to my table. But yeah, so I'll go through, make sure there's a nice variety of movies. We'll watch the movie. We'll usually go get the food, like, we'll watch the movie separately, go get the food together, and then we'll go and record the episode.
Yeah, because you don't want to record, you're not trying to capture the ambiance of wherever you are. You're trying to do quality audio, right? So that people can hear and understand. So like the Mr. Gaddy's, which I thought was cool with Toy Story, and talking about that fabulous. So people get to learn about restaurants and things like that we don't normally hear about. That's a kid's place, right? But not really.
Yeah.
So would you liken this to, say, kind of like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 with concessions? Or is it more like, how do we pair movies with food?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like, for example, we did a recording of Alien, which is one of my favorite movies. And I got the astronaut ice cream bars. Ordered them offline.
You want those to be so good, but they're not.
I know.
Every time
I was surprised that it weren't worse, though.
As a kid, I'd get one every year on my birthday, and every year I'd be like, "This is going to be great this time," and it wasn't, and they were bad because they're freeze dried. Did you like it?
I thought it was like I thought I was going to be biting into a thing of chalk, and it wasn't like I was eating Tums, so that was nice. But yeah, I wanted my regular ice cream. I like Tillamook ice cream that's nice and creamy, not chalky.
Yeah.
Well, how long have you been doing this?
Since September of 2021.
2021.
So,
it takes a while, right, to develop a following on podcasting. It
does. And then I had like a health situation pop up end of last year, and that took me out of the game for a couple of months and just trying to recuperate from that. So I'm a one-woman show at this point. So I do all of the producing, I do all of the preparation, editing.
And you have a job too.
And I have a full-time job. So pretty much 2 jobs.
So like if let's just say pick a movie, like if you're going to do The Hunt for Red October, you would do Russian food. Or it's something that go not necessarily food from the movie, but maybe food inspired.
Sub sandwiches would be fine.
Sub sandwiches too.
Sub sandwiches. I like the way you think.
I love that. I love
That's
that.
smart.
Yes.
So are you a bigger fan of food or movies? What brought these two things together?
Well, so a couple of different reasons. For one, I initially started because we had I call them the lost years that we recently had from 2020 on, with everyone having to deal with COVID. And I was like, I want an excuse to get together with my friends and be able to talk about movies, talk about food. We love both. So let's go ahead and marry them together, because you have to have an interesting hook when it comes to podcasting. There's millions of podcasts out there. Yeah. So there was a show back in the day, Dinner and a Movie. Totally did not remember that until after I had started recording.
A podcast, Dinner and a Movie? Yeah.
No, it was on USA, right?
Yeah,
Really?
It was a USA show from like the late 90s or
I
early
absolutely
2000s.
remember that. And they'd show the movie, but the commercials, it'd be some host like J Bob or Joe Bob or whatever, kind of giving some
It was on in
commentary.
between La Femme Nikita and, what was it? Oh, God, I think Highlander or something like that.
Yeah. I like how you remember the first one there, too.
I do remember the first one. Yeah, and Silk Stockings, that was it. I remember the 90s very well. But so Dinner and a Movie, which is a classic, way to spend an evening.
I think that was sort of in the back of my head, but I didn't consciously think about that until afterward. But it was really a podcast called Off Menu, and it's these 2 British comedians, James Aidcaster and Ed Gamble, and they go through and run through your like dream meal. and it goes from like still or sparkling water all the way down to dessert. So that's sort of where I got my similar format from, but then I flipped it on its head because we have an amuse-bouche, which is your icebreaker, sort of sets the tone. Then you have your apps haps, which is when we talk about the food itself. Cinematic entree, you go into the movie review, but also intertwining some food in there as well. So like, let's say there's the menu, for example, you know, we talk about some questions involving food on the plates as well, and you know, we sort of go from there all the way through dessert and have a fun time. And I try and bring in facts that may not be super well known. I want someone to walk away learning at least one new thing.
And those facts could be about the food or the movie.
Yes, usually both.
Like, what are some of the things that blew your mind that you learned while doing this?
Gosh, I'm trying to think of one.
It is hard. It's like hunting a school of fish. I mean, there's so many. Like off the last one you did. What do you do you learn facts about? We talked about Evil Dead.
Yeah,
that episode's out, right?
Mm-hmm, that one's actually getting ready to come out.
Oh, getting ready.
Yeah.
Evil Dead. If you're not familiar with it, amazing, campy, like late '80s horror movie, unintentionally funny, and then it led to 2 sequels, which were more horror comedies.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to do Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I think it might be coming. Yeah.
What do you eat with that? Or are you just like, I'm not.
Yeah, that's a good question. What would you eat with Cocaine Bear?
Powdered donuts.
That makes sense.
Like that's the first thing that comes to mind is
Snow
powdered
capsule
donuts.
work.
Snow capsule
No
work.
capsule work. Would you eat like would you go for like wild game and do like bear? Because you can get like bear meatballs. You can buy pre-made bear meatballs from exotic.
No, thank you.
Well, don't buy them.
Yeah.
You ever have bear?
No.
Oh no, you don't want to eat that.
Really? Why?
No.
Tell us.
It's just the gamiest, grayest, murkiest, baddest meat you're gonna eat.
Really?
Don't eat bear.
Well, I wouldn't have even tried it to
Have you
begin
had
And you
with.
bear,
wouldn't. If you ever
Jeremy?
seen you ever seen a bear shaved?
No.
No.
That's
All
the
right.
weirdest question I've ever been asked in my
Look
life.
one up on the internet, and then you'll never want to eat bear again.
What websites are you going to? Where is
Your
this?
search
I
look
think it's
like,
called the
Jeremy?
dark web.
Type in shaved bear. They probably thought I was typing in something different.
I feel like.
but you know what I'm saying.
But first off, if you had asked me, have you ever seen a shaved bear? And if I said yes, you should immediately knock me off your friends list. You ever seen a shaved bear? Absolutely. Don't come in my house.
Yeah.
So weird. But wait, okay.
But you'll bring me in your studio.
Who would shave a bear? Like that's
That
another
seems
proposition.
cruel, doesn't
Yeah, I
it?
mean,
It seems scary.
is it taxidermy? Is that like the only
they
reason?
wouldn't
Well, I'm gonna Google
No, I mean, I guess they're in captivity, and just like other animals, they have to be cared for sometimes in procedures.
Oh
that
my
really shave
God!
them.
I
You're
just
never
Googled
gonna
a
eat
shaved
it.
bear.
It looks like the scariest creature on earth.
Oh my God!
I don't even need to look at the picture. Twitch's face is enough. Oh no! Why did
See,
you
look,
turn
tell
that?
me that's not
That
scary.
is scarier
looks-
than an actual bear.
That looks
in
like something out of
defense,
Ghostbusters.
in defense of Jeremy, have you ever typed in anything and then what you got was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and then you try to erase it off your computer
Oh,
so
look
nobody
Look
knew
at
you
that
did it.
thing.
You know, shaved guinea pig is way cuter.
Oh my God!
You-
Bear is
like-
terrible.
Are you guys ready for me to cook that for you?
Oh,
Well, how about ceviche, just raw then, right?
I don't want to
Tartar.
share a
Disease or
planet with that
something
thing.
might be the reason that they would do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've eaten gator. You know, like if we did. I mean, look, we have cocaine bear. I'm gonna mark this, copyright it, whatever, right now. Meth gator. I want.
That's already a thing.
Is it a good thing?
The same people who did Sharknado and Snakes on a Plane have already started producing Meth Gator. It comes out
Meth
next year.
Gator.
Meth Gator.
I want it to I want a meth gator to fight the boa constrictors.
So-
in the
Did you
You guys
Everglades.
just make this up?
No, swear to God, the people who are the
B-movies.
movie Sharknado, the movie not Snakes on a Plane, but Snakes on a Train.
Yeah.
There's a company out there that just does like
things.
not parodies but knockoffs of
Yeah.
famous movies, and they've already started production on
funny.
Meth Gator. Yeah,
Meth
I
Gator
lost my
to
opportunity.
Sharknado.
Yeah, too
Yep.
late.
No.
already a thing.
Oh, God.
So okay, so at Cocaine Bear,
Yes.
powdered donuts.
Sub sandwiches.
Do you eat a full meal when you do it?
Yeah, typically we'll go out and we'll eat at a restaurant and just sit down, enjoy it. And really, like, part of the reason why I wanted to do it that way too is because I want to promote local restaurants. With COVID having happened, unfortunately, it did kill some of our restaurants, but luckily there's a lot of my favorites still here. So I want to continue to support them as much as possible.
How often do you come out with a new episode?
We come out weekly. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break here between season 2 and season 3. So season 3 is expected in April, and we're just wrapping up. We're going to have 2 episodes coming out. We're going to have the movie Tomorrow War, and then we're going to have Terminator 2.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, so we're going to have that one as
Where
our
will you
closer.
go?
Yeah.
Have you
After
figured that out?
Well, what do you eat for Terminator 2, let's
That's
say?
what I'm saying. Where are you going to go?
That one, we did, like I mentioned, 610 Magnolia for Ratatouille. Well, my friend's like, hey, let's go back for another meal. We sort of have this fancy friends annual dinner now. And he's like, I want to go back and try their meal this year. And so we went back for a part 2. And,
Magnolia.
and had a sequel at 610 Magnolia. So.
Okay.
Oh, I get that sequel. Okay, I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
we both connection.
Yeah, it was funny because we both were like, okay, what's like the best sequel out there? And we both like said Terminator 2 at the exact same time.
Yeah, totally not a food movie, right?
No.
I was trying to think of one morsel of food and then a
Well, the main character didn't even eat food.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is best sequels of all time. That's that or Godfather 2.
Yeah.
Those two.
Oh,
would
the
be
Godfathers are.
See, Godfather would be almost
Yeah.
too easy because it's just Italian. You got to do like
Right.
old school
Yeah, that
Italian
would be
food.
easy.
Yeah.
That one would be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And that one eventually will come down the pike. I mean, we're going to do all of them. I love finding like those smaller independent films that maybe not as many people know about because then I get to introduce people to it. So
Yeah.
I love doing that. But then, of course, you got to have your heavy hitters like Terminator 2.
Yeah, you got to play the hits.
You know.
Yeah, you got to play the hits.
So,
That's interesting.
favorite movie snack, not candy, but favorite thing to eat during a movie.
I know.
Go ahead.
Cinemark's Pizza Hut.
Are they
Okay, I'm sorry.
the little
That's
pan
not what you
pizzas?
meant, but
No, that's a great idea.
no, they come in these little personal pans.
Yeah, the little pan
And they're in
pizzas.
this cabinet, and I crave them when I walk in the room.
I get that.
Yeah, they're
I get
little
that.
pizza
Little
huts,
tiny pan pizza.
and they are so good. And I don't know why they're. I mean, Pizza Hut's good, but these little personal pan pizzas, and you can't eat them easily.
So
They're
those are the
gooey.
same pizzas that we would get when we were kids for reading books. The reading, I think it's
The
called
personal
Reading Counts.
pans?
Yeah, you get a little
And they're thick.
coupon.
They're
When you were a
thick.
kid, if you
They're
read 10
thick.
books, you got a free pizza from Pizza Hut.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And they're thick, and
They're
they're
real thick.
really gooey, and they're hard to eat when you're sitting. And I get them with my grandkids, and we're just like covered in goo by the time we're finished.
How
But
many
it's
times
so
have you
good.
burned your mouth?
Yeah.
Has that happened quite frequently?
Every time.
Not so far because I probably don't feel it because I just love them. When you're in love, you don't feel singed or
Yeah.
something, you know.
Well, food and movies, that's your favorite. Jeremy, you got a favorite thing to eat during movies? Like if you're watching a movie, because I don't get to watch as many movies as I want anymore, so.
No, I'm pretty basic. I mean, food, like actual foods didn't really occur to me until Movie Tavern came around,
Yeah.
where you could actually eat there. So, I mean, I'm back on the classic popcorn and candy.
Do you like to eat a full meal while you watch? Do you like to eat while you watch movies?
I think that's
Yeah,
really
a snacky
fun.
thing, I think.
But like a meal, would you eat
No,
like
I
a
wouldn't
movie
eat
tower? Would you eat like a burger and fries while you watch a movie?
No, that'd be too much.
Maybe
I
at
think.
home.
Maybe at
but-
home,
But
right.
not out and about. Like at home, usually I'm sitting there with a mug of ice cream,
Yeah,
and just
like-
eating my ice cream.
Ice
hanging out.
cream
Popcorn,
is-
pizza, and Coke.
You know, I enjoy eating at the movie tavern, like while I'm watching the movie. I don't do that at home though. So I don't know what the difference is. I'm a pretty serious movie watcher. Like I'm there to watch it.
Really?
And there's several snacks that rank right up there. Like they said nachos, besides popcorn and all.
Yeah.
Hot dogs, and Junior Mints, Milk Duds, Skittles, Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
Are among the top things.
I
that
think
people
movie
eat.
theater nachos with that bright orange cheese,
Oh.
they're just different. You know what I
Yes.
mean? They're not like restaurant nachos. They're that, the space cheese, I call it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, see, that's not my favorite, guys, because the chips are always stale
Sure.
Yeah.
and stuff. I don't know. You like
That's the beauty of it.
At home, I think you
It's
can
just
do
like
that.
it's so bad it's good.
Right.
You know?
I know sometimes that's like snacks are all about, right? And,
Exactly,
kind of
just
breaking out of
Greasy and bad.
doesn't
Maybe
count
that's-
on your ledger,
Yeah,
right?
maybe that's
of
why
life.
you like the pizza because it's just greasy and gooey and just like all the
not
things
good
you
for
know you
me,
shouldn't
probably.
eat.
Yeah.
But you want it.
It's so good.
Because you're doing a thing you never do. You're sitting in the dark for 2 hours. You're not looking at your phone.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting with a bunch of strangers. And you're like, well, if I'm doing this, I might as well just go all in.
Go for
Get the
it.
pizza.
Put
get
all that
get the
butter on
full-strength
the
Coke.
popcorn that you shouldn't have.
Popcorn without butter. That's like
It's
eating
like-
unfrosted Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
That's
wrong.
that's
No.
against the rules.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
someone doesn't like get extra butter on their popcorn, I don't know if I can trust them as
I
a
agree
person,
with
you know. And then you got to do like the halfway where you're like, "Hey, can you please only fill it halfway? Let me put the butter and then fill it the
that's
next
right.
halfway."
Hey, they do that at the Kentucky Theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does that automatically. You can
Oh,
see him
that's
operate.
awesome.
He puts the butter. He takes
That's a
half,
craftsman.
and then
Yes.
that's a craft. That's artisanship.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we just got like this is flown by, but Callie Matthews of the Foodies Reviewing Movies Podcast, out wherever you get podcasts. New episode out when?
Actually, it just dropped yesterday on Friday, so we have a new one there waiting for you. Harry Met Sally.
Oh, great!
I'll have what she's having.
So good. That's so good. All right, well, check it out. Back in a few. It's Food News and Chews Radio.
Thank you.